The people versus the polls. You've heard me say it over and over again. Watch the people, not the polls. But if you listen to the mainstream media cite Trump's polling numbers, you'd think this was an unpopular president. Unpopular? Trump? Check out the crowd in West Virginia at the rally last night. The people love this president. And this guy right there really loves the president. This scene plays out around the country. Every time Trump shows up at an event, and the mainstream media, the liberals and the anti-Trump crowd will likely dismiss this as, yeah, but that's his base. But it's Trump's base, the deplorables, not the typical GOP voters, that fuel Trump's presidency. And honestly, I think it's refreshing to have a president who's not in bed with his party. Charles Krauthammer gets it. Take a listen.
He's got this grand jury, reports of a grand jury being convened. He's got the walls kind of closing in on him in Washington. And here he's going out into the country and saying, these are my people. These are real people. Forget about the numbers. Forget about the chatter in Washington. Forget about the stories about Russia, which he spent a lot of time on. But I represent a huge constituency of tremendous support and enthusiasm.
So what do you think, Ebony? That was a pretty enthusiastic crowd last night.
It was. Cannot hit on that at all, Eric Bowling. And this is where Trump, I think, is being very smart because he knows this is where his energy is. This is what fuels him, as you say, very accurately. And there is a huge part of this country, Eric, that are going to ride with this president till the wheels fall off. And that's who put him in the Oval Office. So I don't think he's at all wrong to certainly be catering to that base.
Not until, but if the wheels fall off, they would still be with them. I'll go with that. But the wheels ain't falling off, Kat. Your thoughts on this?
It's incredible to see it every single time. I mean, the base, yeah, you're right. I don't think anybody would argue that their base are incredibly loyal to President Trump no matter what. They're walking around. I mean, there's people that never take off their Make America Great Again hats and their shirts, and they're very excited. They're having a very, very good time. And whatever President Trump does, even if it's something different than what he ran on, they just go with President Trump. It really is an amazing thing. And for him to be having a tough day politically to do something like this. He was speaking for, what, about an hour? Everyone's just cheering and cheering the entire time. Of course, that's a good move politically for him
Bernie,
to do.
they lined up last night. The night before to start waiting for a good spot in that. Quick thought, because I have something special coming up next. Quick thought.
If you believe CBS, NBC, ABC, CNN, and Washington Post, et cetera, we have a country in crisis. The president is beleaguered. Look at that. Does he look like a beleaguered man? We don't have a country in crisis. And he rattled off a list of accomplishments last night. I mean, the Gorsuch, the judges, the TPP, 1 million jobs created in 6 months. In West Virginia alone, 13,000 coal mining jobs in the last 6 months. He announced the Mazda Toyota thing yesterday, the Foxconn thing. Law enforcement has a friend. There's a million things you can name. Immigration way down, crushing MS-13. He's winning, folks. Don't listen to the press.
I'm sorry to cut you off, Bernie, because joining us now on the phone, Ned Ryan, CEO of American Majority and a Trump surrogate. Ned, you've been on this whole issue with Robert Muller, special counsel. Last night, President Trump referenced the special counsel. He doesn't seem affected by it. Well, give us the assessment of the Trump campaign, the Trump administration, and this special counsel investigation.
You know, Eric, it's good to remind people again that Bob Mueller's heavily conflicted special counsel team has just gone so far afield from its original mandate. It's good to remind people of where it all started. You can actually find the mandate on the DOJ's website, but the special counsel was launched to investigate allegations regarding the Russian government's potential efforts to interfere with the 2016 elections and any potential connection between Russia and the Trump campaign. And, Eric, the thing that I'm reminding people about this whole special counsel and the whole Russian collusion fairy tale, it was started on a false premise in many ways by a fake dossier by Fusion GPS, who, by the way, when they were building that dossier, were actually doing work on behalf of the Russian state. So now you have a special counsel, again, heavily conflicted, based off a false premise and a fake dossier. And people are arguing, you know, obstruction of justice with Trump's legal and constitutional firing of Jim Comey. And now we have a special counsel team going so far afield looking into financial dealings 8-9 years before Trump even ran for president. You start to ask questions. Maybe this is a political witch hunt because right now it has nothing to do with anything regarding Russian collusion.
All right, hang in there. A couple co-hosts have a question for you. Go ahead, Ed.
How you doing? Thanks for joining us, Ned. My only question is, let's say, which I am very willing to believe you're absolutely right, and there really is nothing there. Do you think it benefits the president to let this investigation play out, keep Mueller there, although we all agree he can fire him, but maybe keep him in place, let him conclude this, and just show actually there is nothing there America to see?
Well, based off Ty Cobb's comments, again, speaking on behalf of the White House, they are going to fully comply and be open and transparent with Mueller's team, and it looks like right now, let it run its course. So I don't see the White House, I don't see Trump firing Mueller. I think they're going to let it run its course. I just think it's a shame in this whole process, Ebony, that the taxpayer is getting to fund all of this, and again, based off a false premise.
Yeah, Ned, I have a question for you, though. A lot of the focus has been around this investigation, and a lot of the media, of course, is biased against President Trump. But President Trump himself also talks about it a lot. Do you think that he could be served well by talking about it a little bit less?
You know, I think the thing, though, that Trump has done successfully is reminding people about, again, let's go back to where this all started, Kat. I mean, it was based off this false narrative. Again, there's not been one shred of evidence, one piece of evidence to actually give any real foundation for this special counsel. So I think Trump has been right to remind people about where this all started. I think I hope that he'll be doing more of is just focusing again, as some of the guests were mentioning, all the great things that he's doing, the economy, jobs, all of those things, and let this, run its course. And hopefully this will be concluded quickly. Although the thing that worries me, Eric and Kat and Ebony, is that once you get a special counsel going and they read their mandate and start going on fishing expeditions, these things do not end quickly. My hope is that Bob Mueller and his team will get this done quickly and that we can move on to the country's business. All
right, we're going to leave right there, Ned. Thank you for calling and really appreciate that.
Thank you, Ned.
Okay, Sid, so your thoughts. I mean, Bernie outlined some of the great accomplishments of President Trump, and he seems like he's ready to go forward with his agenda, with or without Bob Mueller.
Yeah, and I think he will. The only thing I would say is that Ebony knows this as an attorney, okay? Grand juries don't make a habit of investigating hoaxes. They're not around to take on witch hunts. In fact, there are rules against that. So the truth is even though we all agree that there's nothing there, and we think there's nothing there at least, the grand jury is not going to start going about this under Mueller's wishes, of course, unless they think there may be something there. And don't forget, this is supposed to be in Virginia. Now it's in Washington. Mueller is dug in Washington, right? The judges there love him. That's Clinton's stronghold. So all of a sudden, where there's nothing, could be something. So while you guys keep poo-pooing everything, there's nothing there, nothing there, this guy's working real overtime to find something there. And the grand jury, that ain't no joke.
Right, a lot of experts pretty much agree that you wouldn't be having a grand jury if there wasn't a consideration that it was a criminal investigation and not just a counterintelligence investigation. That doesn't mean that charges will be filed, but at least that they're thinking that they're possibly or even likely could be.
Can you imagine, Ebony, waking up every day as President Trump and having, I don't know, 100 of the most aggressive, probably well-seasoned reporters after you, just trying to find something for you. And then you have Bob Mueller's office with now 16 very high-priced, very able lawyers digging through everything.
Democratic donors.
Can you imagine having that on you every single day and trying to do a job?
And trying to do the most important job, right? I will say that Trump has a lot on his plate, absolutely. And to the point of, grand juries don't convene to twiddle their thumbs and not for nothing. But I will point out there was the grand jury that convened under President Clinton, and obviously we know they returned no bill of indictment. So that
and Nixon, too, by the way, both for Whitewater and Watergate.
And that absolutely can happen and does happen quite frequently.
Let me do this, you guys. Last night, West Virginia Governor Jim Justice stunned the crowd with a major announcement that rocked the House. Listen.
Today, I will tell you with lots of prayers and lots of thinking. Today, I'll tell you as West Virginians, I can't help you anymore being a Democrat governor. So tomorrow, I will be changing my registration to Republican.
Quick thoughts around the horn.
My man. Yeah, listen, if you're listening to Chuck Schumer with his better deal, he sounded like the ShamWow salesman. They have nothing. They have squat. He's absolutely right. The Democrats are not going to help you whatsoever. That was a big deal last night. While he was making that announcement, Fox had that broadcasting. CNN was still Mueller's grand jury. I mean, it's the whole distraction with the Mueller thing. We can see what it is. It's to stop Trump from governing.
Ebony.
All right. Well, listen, I'm looking at Governor Justice there, and I see the dawn of the Trump Republican. right? That this is going to be a whole new brand coming to the GOP, Eric. This is my take. I'd love to hear yours. That are going for some type of different value. This is not that's not somebody that probably would have switched parties from Mitt Romney or Senator McCain, but is doing so in the sake of the Trump presidency.
They should call him Governor Deplorable.
Yes, I like that. But it's a big deal, too, because if you think about it like this, if you're going to consider that when Trump has these rallies, right, it's just his folks. It's just the Bowlings and the McGurks of the world, right? Well, now you got a guy who's a Democrat who switched over, so maybe there's more to it. Maybe he's having more success than he's given credit for.
That final thought?
Yeah, absolutely. I just love the fact that he had a rally for this to say, ha, 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 ha. It was just one of the most Trump things that's ever happened. And I do think it's funny. And if I were the president, I would probably do the same thing.